In the year 480 BC, the most formidable army that the world has ever witnessed, guided by a monarch who perceived himself as a celestial force, manifested upon Greece to eliminate the initial form of democracy. Positioned in their way, there existed a slender mountain passage known as the Narrow Passage, and a modest contingent of Hellenic warriors guided by 300 of the most dedicated, fierce fighters of the past, the Spartans. This tells the tale of their fabled final chapter stand, a clash that would resonate through timelessness as an emblem of bravery in the face of insurmountable challenges. However, what transpired at Thermopylae? And how did it unfold? These few individuals alter the trajectory of what about Western history? To truly grasp the events that unfolded at Thermopylae, we must turn back time approximately a decade, leading up to 490 BC on the plains of Marathon. It was in this very place that the Persian incursion into Greece, commanded by King Darius the Great, was astonishingly and utterly defeated. A more compact and exceptionally driven army led by Athenians defeated the Persian forces, driving them hastily retreating across the Iron Sea. In regard to Darius, this was an affront he simply was unbearable. He attempted to impose a punishment Athens in support of a Greek uprising. Yet, the reputation of his empire was broken. Darius swore to exact his vengeance, yet he would perish before he had the chance to obtain it. That an intense fixation on domination transferred to his son and successor, Xerxes the Third. Xerxes wasn't merely completing his father's tasks. He envisioned himself as a divinely inspired being, designated leader, fated to prevail where his father had stumbled. He existed resolved to vanquish the rebellious Greeks once and for all, not merely for retribution them, yet to encompass the entirety of Greece within his immense, continually growing dominion. For years, Xerxes assembled the grandest, the most formidable military power the world has ever witnessed. From every nook of his vast territory, spanning from Mesopotamia to India, from Egypt to Bactria, he assembled troops.
There is a path, Lord Xerxes.
The ancient historian Herodotus asserted the army boasted millions of soldiers, a staggering figure contemporary historians consider to be quite extreme, overstated. Nevertheless, even the more current estimates lean towards a conservative approach, astonishing, implying a ground military presence ranging from 70,000 to 300,000 warriors, supported by an immense armada of more than 2,200 warships. In order to create this, Xerxes issued the command for a potential invasion. Stunning accomplishments of design and construction. He had a channel excavated through a peninsula to assist his fleet in evading a perilous shoreline. With even greater audacity, he ordered a bridge constructed from ships to be constructed over the Hellespont Strait, a mile-long pontoon bridge that allowed his army you can actually stroll from Asia to Europe. As the tempest ravaged the initial bridge, an infuriated Xerxes is said to have commanded the water must be whipped 300 times, and the original engineers met their grim fate of beheading. This provides all the information you require. Learn about the individual orchestrating the invasion. His power was unyielding, and his resources appeared boundless. With the arrival of this news, a chilling power surged forth. An overwhelming tide of dread flowed through the Greek city-states. A multitude, the northern states, perceiving a lack of hope in withstanding, yielded to Persian power. Greece was not a unified nation, yet a fragmented assembly of competing nations, frequently engaged in conflict with one another, alternative. Now confronted with complete destruction, they were presented with an option. Submit to the stand united and confront the challenge like a Persian king in pursuit of their liberation. During this challenging time, a delicate partnership emerged. and the command of their ground troops was entrusted to the singular state that everyone concurred was the foremost military strength in Greece, Sparta. Grasping the essence of Thermopylae requires comprehending the essence of Sparta. Sparta existed as a true anomaly in ancient Greece. As urban landscapes, Athens was engaged in experimentation with the interplay of governance, thought, and creativity in the context of Sparta. Was honing a singular, lethal skill, conflict. Their whole civilization functioned like a well-oiled machine, crafted to deliver the utmost excellence warriors. This system was referred to as the aga. For a Spartan male, existence was shaped by the state from the moment of arrival. Senior individuals examined newborns. Along with any infant considered feeble or flawed, was abandoned on the hillside to meet one's end. Survival came first test. At the age of 7, boys were removed from the families, stepped into the agog, a harsh government-backed training initiative which endured for more than 10 years. Those individuals acquired the skills of reading and writing, yet the primary curriculum centered on survival, order, and conflict. They resided in the barracks and were intentionally given insufficient food to motivate them to take food, an invaluable asset for a campaign. If they were apprehended, they were ruthlessly penalized, not for theft, but for the failure to be recognized. Those individuals were instructed to withstand intense suffering with unwavering resolve, to follow any command undoubtedly, and to appreciate Sparta's the well-being of others takes precedence over their own existence. There the training was relentless, centered on achieving the pinnacle strength, skill with arms, and the intricate maneuvers of the Phalanx development. The culture of Sparta was renowned for its brief, clever observations, which we now, let's use concise expressions. Courage existed, the utmost excellence. The lack of courage, profound embarrassment. Soldiers who fled from those who fought were labeled as outcasts, rejected by all. The anxiety of that social, the end loomed larger than the dread of perishing in combat. Even the women of Sparta were distinctive in Greece. They possessed a wealth of knowledge, participated in athletics, and possessed a degree of unprecedented freedom compared to others' urban landscapes.
On the hidden path.
Their primary responsibility was to nurture robust heirs for Sparta.
We must
An
retreat,
illustrious
King.
Spartan expressing,
Preserve our
as mothers
forces.
advising their sons to return from the conflict, either with your protect or upon
Preserve
it.
yourselves.
Significance
Live
of
to
return
fight another
triumph
day.
or perish in the pursuit. In the role of a warrior, escaping would have required him to abandon his burdensome defense. This is the mechanism that shaped King
Men of
Leonidas
Thespiae, look
and his
to the
300
rising sun.
warriors, personal
Today, we hold this
protectors.
pass. We stand with Leonidas
Men who had been
for
forged
Greece,
in the
for
flames of the
freedom.
agoge,
Indulge in
and
a
those
hearty
who were
breakfast.
the
For
essence
this
of the
evening,
Spartan ideal.
We feast in the realm of
As the colossal
shadows.
army of Xerxes advanced the southern region, the Hellenic League, the Greeks' alliance needed to devise a strategy. The Athenian general, Themistocles, an exceptional strategist, suggested a collaborative operation involving both land and sea. The concept was to halt the Persian forces at a constricted passage and simultaneously halt the Persian navy navigating a narrow strait. This would stop the fleet from encircling and replenishing the ground forces. The location they selected for the land defense was a pass referred to as Thermopylae, signifying hot gates in Greek, derived from the sulfur found in the area springs. This location was an excellent selection. In 480 BC, the narrow passage. It was a remarkably tight passageway, perhaps merely 100-meter wide, confined between steep the peaks and the ocean. This landscape would serve as an enhancer, countering the greatest threat from the Persians' benefit, their overwhelming quantities, and compelling them into a fierce confrontation on equal footing. The task of maintaining this, The pass was entrusted to one of the kings of Sparta, Leonidas. However, a complication arose. An invasion was occurring during two of the Olympic, one of the most revered festivals of ancient Greece, festivities and competitions in Sparta's own celebration, Carneia. Throughout the Carneia, the laws of Sparta categorically prohibited any military action. Trapped in the tension between divine decree and the absolute conclusion of their existence, the elders reached an agreement. Those individuals were unable to deploy the entire army, yet they would permit Leonidas to advance northward at once alongside his personal bodyguard, comprising 300 individuals. These were not merely any warriors, they were seasoned experts, selected with care by Leonidas. Herodotus includes a disturbing detail. Leonidas in particular selected men who already had sons to create certain their family lines would not be erased. This implies that Leonidas was aware. This could very well be a journey with no return. Prior to his departing, Leonidas sought the wisdom of the oracle at Delhi, the most esteemed spiritual power in Greece.
A
The
secret
seers,
trail
the
through
prophecy
mountains.
loomed ominously, shrouded in ambiguity and dread. Listen, O men of Sparta, guardians of the broad path streets, either your magnificent town shall be dismissed by the offspring of Perseus, or if that is not, the entire realm of Lacedaemon. We shall grieve the passing of a monarch of the abode of Heracles. The communication was evident. Either Sparta would meet its demise, or a king of Sparta had to meet his end. For a gentleman similar to Leonidas, drenched in the essence of Sparta, the weight of duty and the burden of sacrifice, the decision, it was never truly a decision. He advanced northward to confront his fate, collecting companions throughout the journey. By the time he arrived at Thermopylae, the Greek force consisted of approximately 7,000 individuals, a blend of Spartans, actors, performers, and more. It was a minuscule power confronting an empire unstoppable force. Yet at the constricted, sweltering entrance, they would assert their position. Upon the Greeks' arrival at Thermopylae, they promptly began making arrangements for their protection. They reconstructed an ancient wall, the Phocian Wall, which obstructed the narrowest passage section of the pass, and placed their individuals responsible for it. The core of this force were the hoplites, the heavily armored foot soldiers of ancient Greece. A hoplite was a formidable tank from ancient times. Universe. He donned a bronze breastplate, bronze leg guards, along with the legendary Corinthian helmet that shielded his whole head. His primary armament was an elongated A-spear known as adoru, and to conclude in close quarters combat, he wielded a short Zyos, a sword of legend. However, his most crucial, the hoplon, a substantial piece of gear, a circular shield crafted from wood and bronze that shielded him from neck to knee. Hoplites engaged in a formation known as thank you. They stood shoulder to shoulder, interlocking their shields to forge an unyielding barrier of bronze. The gentlemen in the initial ranks indicated their extended spears ahead, forming a lethal thicket of sharpened tips. A focused phalanx, particularly in a confined area where it was nearly impossible to be flanked indestructible. This was the wall of Leonidas, intended to employ to halt the Persian army. Before long, the Persian army made its entrance. A vast expanse of men and horses extending endlessly into the eye could perceive. King Xerxes established his seat upon a distant rise to observe the conflict. For 4 days, he remained inactive. He simply waited. He truly couldn't have faith in this small band of warriors would truly challenge him. He dispatched an envoy insisting on their capitulation. As noted by the historian Plutarch, Leonidas's response was notably brief. Molin Lab, come and seize them. Xerxes was undoubtedly evoke a powerful response from those who beheld his forces urge the Greeks to flee. However, the Greeks remained still. They gently applied oil to their engaged in physical activities, performed athletic routines, and groomed their flowing locks, a tradition of the Spartans prior to a confrontation. They were aware they could potentially not endure. Xerxes' patience ultimately captured. On the 5th day, he commanded the assault. The conflict commenced not with a rush, but amidst a tempest of arrows. Xerxes issued his command his archers to unleash their arrows, and Herodotus notoriously described the arrows as being so dense they obscured the sunlight. It was then that the Spartan Defiance allegedly uttered his iconic statement, "Good. Then our confrontation shall unfold in the shadows." The Greeks have just raised their burdensome shields, forming a protective layer of bronze that effortlessly diverted the arrows. Annoyed, Xerxes unleashed his initial wave of 10,000 troops, the infantry, the Mez and Sicians, commanding to seize the Greeks and transport them to him. The wave surged against the formation of the Spartan shield wall, yielded a remarkable outcome, a massacre. The Persian infantry, accompanied by smaller spears and woven shields, were completely overpowered. Their defenses broken upon the bronze hoplons, and the length of their spears fell short of reaching the meanwhile. The Greeks systematically thrust ahead from the safety of their phalanx. For the Persians, it felt as though I was encountering the meat grinder roared to life. As men in the front fell, they were crushed beneath the advancing ranks them. The passage quickly became congested with bodies. The Greeks engaged in combat in shifts to remain vibrant, stood firm without granting a small concession. Observing from his upon the throne, Xerxes seethed with fury. He had cast thousands of his soldiers into the Greeks, and they had been pushed back with devastating tolls, as Greek losses was quite limited. The initial day was entirely a calamity for the Persians, and an astonishing success for Leonidas. They had demonstrated within the tight boundaries of the sweltering barriers. Exceptional preparation and tools could challenge the most daunting of odds. Yet the day was not finished, and Xerxes was on the verge of submit his finest. As the first day drew to a close, a seething Xerxes determined it was the moment to submit his exclusive. He summoned his private royal defense, the mythical power of the Greeks referred to as the Immortals. This formed a central part of 10,000 of the most skilled fighters in the Persian Empire, was referred to as the Immortals. Due to should a soldier meet his demise or succumb to illness, he was swiftly substituted, resulting in the semblance of an unbeatable, eternal force. These were skilled warriors, superior, better equipped than the standard foot soldiers. They were an intimidating presence advancing into the pass, their armor shimmering. Xerxes was confident that in the places where the others had failed, his Immortals would prevail. He was mistaken. The Immortals launched an assault on the Greek line marked by a fierce discipline, yet the outcome remained unchanged. They were unable to shatter the defenses. In the midst of battle, the Greeks introduced a novel strategy, the feinted retreat. The Phalanx would feign a break and dash, deceiving the Persians found themselves caught in a chaotic pursuit. Then, upon receiving the signal, the Greeks would abruptly adjust, reshape their defensive formation immediately, and shock the astonished, and the enemy has overreached. Herodotus notes that Xerxes sprang forth from he slammed the throne 3 times in frustration, saw even his most formidable forces experience cut to pieces. The pass was a slaughter home brimming with the remains of his closest companions' individuals. As the second day drew to a close, though the Persians endured countless losses. As the Greek front held, the spirit remains unyielding. The Persian army was reaching its lowest point. It appeared that the Greek position was untenable captured. Over the course of 2 complete days, approximately 7,000 men had successfully resisted an army of more than 100,000. Leonidas's plan was proving effective, flawlessly. Yet, as the Greeks took a moment to pause, a figure emerged from the shadows, a man, whose name would eventually symbolize deceit throughout the ages. The man was known as Defiance. He was a local familiar with the surrounding mountains. Thermopylae was as familiar to him as the back of his hand. Vowed a lavish reward by the Persian. The king made his way to Xerxes' camp with a hidden truth that would determine the destiny of the 300 Spartans, a concealed mountain path, the Outnumbered trail that circled the pass and emerged from behind the Greek position. Leonidas was aware of this path. He had positioned 1,000 Phocian warriors stationed atop the mountain to protect it. Xerxes, capitalizing on this treachery, promptly dispatched his general, Hyrn, and the distinguished immortals who pledged their allegiance to Defiance. Beneath the shelter of the path, shadows enveloped the land as the Persians advanced. The night.
Through the Outnumbered path.
With the arrival of dawn, they stumbled regarding the Phocian guards. As per Herodotus, the gentle whisper of leaves from the approaching army served as the initial alert.
This is the final command.
The Phocians
We hold
possessed.
this pass until the last man falls.
Following a barrage
For
of
Sparta.
Persian arrows, the Phocians, contemplating they were the primary focus, withdrew upwards the mountain to take a stand. This was an irrevocable error. The Persians were not. They piqued my curiosity. Yet, they simply overlooked. They pressed on along the path to reach following Leonidas. A messenger from Phos hurried down the mountain to inform Leonidas received the heartbreaking news. They were on the verge of being ensnared. The situation was far from the defense was extended, yet the conflict ultimately ended in defeat. Leonidas swiftly summoned a meeting. As the Persians prepared to launch their assault from both the front and the rear, the army confronted inevitable destruction. The majority of the Allied, the commanders contended for an urgent withdrawal to preserve the forces for battle. Another day. Leonidas consented. He disbanded the majority of the Greek forces, commanding them to leave as they could. This was not an act of surrender. It was a deliberate decision. The position was consistently intended as a tactic to buy time, and by maintaining possession of the pass for more than 2 days and ensuring the Persians face consequences for every inch in blood, they had already triumphed. The paramount concern at this moment was for the remainder of the forces to flee and persist. The battle raged on, yet Leonidas remained unmoved. Anywhere. For a king of Sparta, withdrawing was a shocking embarrassment. He was constrained by the edicts of Spartan law and the decrees of the oracle foretell. He and his 300 warriors would remain. They would serve as the rear guard, clinging to history to shield their companions' withdrawal and realize their purpose. They were not completely isolated. In a fleeting instance of remarkable bravery that frequently receives neglected, the whole assembly of 700 warriors hailing from the city of Thespiae, guided under the leadership of their commander, Demophilus, made the conscious decision to remain and perish alongside the Spartans. Their sacrifice stood as a compelling demonstration of their bravery. It is believed that 400 Thebans have capitulated to the Persians during the ultimate confrontation rather than battling to the demise. A few Spartan helmets. It is probable that servants were also in attendance. Thus, the rear guard was established. 300 Spartans, 700 performers, 400 Thebans, who predominantly yielded or were compelled to remain equipped with a few Spartan helmets. Perhaps around 1,500 men united against the overwhelming force of the Persian army. Realizing the conclusion was close by, Leonidas allegedly informed his troops to indulge in a hearty breakfast, because that evening they would feast in the realm of shadows. As the ultimate attack commenced, the Greeks did not linger behind their barrier. They progressed into the broader section of the pass, resolute in the quest to eliminate as many Persians as potential. What ensued was unadulterated, frantic brutality. The survivors' Greeks battled with a passion ignited by resolve. Herodotus writes that when their spears shattered, they battled with the blades. When the blades broken, they battled with their fists and their teeth.
Retreat, King.
Leonidas tumbled into the core of the conflict, and an intense struggle erupted across his skin.
Preserve yourselves.
In the end, the overwhelming
day.
presence of Persians was simply too great. The Greeks found themselves retreating to a confined hill where they made their ultimate stand. Enveloped from every direction, they found themselves ultimately obliterated by a tempest of Persian arrows. Ultimately, nearly every single Spartan and Thespian lay lifeless.
For this evening,
the sweltering the gates had fallen.
Realm of shadows.
At first glance, Thermopylae appeared to be transparent triumph for Persia. The route to the South Greece stood unbarred, and the forces of Xerxes advanced southward, igniting the city of Athens. In a final surge of fury, Xerxes ordered the decapitation of Leonidas's body and crucified, a deed regarded cruel even by the measures of the time. Yet their sacrifice was far from trivial, however devoid of significance. Tactically, the three-day delay provided the Greek allies valuable moments to get ready for what lies ahead stage of the conflict. Several weeks afterward, at the naval battle of Salamis, the Hellenic, the fleet commanded by Themistocles, enticed the Persian navy, has entered the narrow straits. Similar to a Thermopylae, and achieved a resounding victory triumph. The following year, at the Clash of Plateau, a cohesive Greek army ignited by the valor displayed at Thermopylae shattered what remained of the Persian land forces, putting an end to the invasion once and for all. Yet the true legacy of Thermopylae extends far beyond military strategy. It transformed into a legend nearly instantaneously. It was a significant victory for the Greeks, fostering a spirit of togetherness that had never been seen before. It transformed into a lasting emblem of bravery in the face of unconquerable challenges, of devotion for the higher purpose, and the steadfastness to stand firm to oppression. Following the conflict, a stone lion was constructed at Thermopylae to pay tribute to the king Leonidas. A renowned epitaph attributed to the poet Simonides was inscribed upon a stone in honor of the 300 go share the news. O Spartans, traveler who wanders by, that here we rest, dutifully adhering to their decrees. For 2.5 millennia, the tale of the 300 Spartans have served as a source of inspiration for soldiers, figures of influence and creativity. It has been recounted within verses, literature, and the renowned illustration, the novel and film 300, which, while taking an abundance of creative freedom, immortalized the unrefined valor of the myth. Thermopylae serves as the quintessential reminder that history is not solely crafted by the victors.
Trail through the mountains.
It is further influenced by the ethical strength of those who stand their ground, even in defeat. It's a narrative that demonstrates a committed circle of resolute individuals have the power to transform the world, and that certain losses are so magnificent, they transform into eternal.
This is the final command.
The sacrifice at the hot gates was not the conclusion, yet a new dawn. It ignited the flame that sparked the flames of Greek struggle, and ultimately aided maintain a heritage that established the foundation for Western civilization. If you seek to delve deeper into legendary tales, key events, and transformative instances in history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for the channel and tap the notification bell. Allow us share in the comments your thoughts on which epic battle from history that you would find interesting for us to explore. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.